Hi, my name is Stephen Sawyer. I'm a researcher and business analyst with the Prescient team. I just wanted to take you through some of the functionality we're building for the first version of Imprimo. A big thanks to artists Grant McConnell and Paddy for providing some artwork images for these designs I'm about to show you. Using real images helps bring things to life in these mockups. Just a note in these designs, some of the data is a mishmash between Grant and Paddy, and in some cases we had to make some stuff up to fill in the gaps. So not everything here is totally accurate. It's more just to get an idea of what we're doing here. On this first slide, we see what an artist profile will look like on Imprimo, with Grant as an example here. The purpose of the profile is to be an information hub for all things about the artist. Users can come to this profile on Imprimo and find out more about the artist's background, their social links, their catalog of works, and an up-to-date CV. At the top, we have the artist's avatar picture, followed by the pronouns as selected by the artist. You can select from a list, or write out your own, or select nothing as you wish. Below, we have the artist's location to let people know where you are and possibly help connect with users. You'll also be able to share this profile with others using conventional methods of texting, linking, or using social media. And if you have an account on Imprimo, you can follow the artists and get updates when they upload new works, have upcoming exhibitions, stuff like that. Below that, we see Grant's cover image with his profile heading. Scrolling down, we can see the beginning of his biography. There's a red plus sign below if you'd like to read more of the profile. We also have up to 3 keywords the artist can enter to define themselves or their work, however they choose. These keywords help users find you when searching for artists on Imprimo. I'll get into searching on a later slide. And finally, at the bottom, the artist has their social media links there if the user wants to visit them. In the next slide, we have the artist's catalog as uploaded to Imprimo. This is obviously an important page as this is where artists can show off their work. Each work has a primary thumbnail displayed, along with the artist's name and date created. The user can click on any of these images to see a detailed record of the work that I'll describe a bit later. Users have filters and sorting tools to be able to narrow results if this page has a lot of works on it. The last part of the artist profile is the CV section. Here the artist can enter all things that they would want on the CV, like exhibitions, solo or group, awards, residencies, and more. On display are some of the typical categories an artist might use, but this is not an exhaustive list. With each event, artists can enter descriptions and media such as video or images to make the CV entry more dynamic than a typical CV. In this test case, we're looking at an exhibition and images for the different works that were in the exhibition. The user can select the plus sign and expand the section. Each one of these images is another access point for the work record, where the user can click on the image to see more information about the work. As mentioned, different media types can be added to make the CV more engaging. An artist can enter a link to a YouTube or Vimeo video, and the video will auto-populate in the CV, where the user can just view the video right in the CV, or link out to the video site. When viewing the CV, users can filter by different sections and view those categories in isolation. For example, here we're just looking at the different residencies the artist has done. Finally, when the artist is logged into the system, they can export their CV as a PDF so that artists can distribute and use the CV outside of the Imprimo platform. With each work uploaded to Imprimo, a certificate of creation is produced by the system. Artists can download the certificate as a PDF, and this can accompany a physical or digital work when it changes ownership, when it's exhibited, and other purposes. We have the main image of the work presented. Beside it is the title, the creator, where the work was produced, the signature of the artist, along with the other metadata. Below that, we have the copyright holder and the copyright date. We also have an indication that the one who is making a claim to this work has had their identity verified on Imprimo, giving more assurance to the user that this copyright claim is legitimate. On the bottom right is the date the claim was made on Imprimo and a unique cryptographic hash called a blockchain ID. All claims made on Imprimo get a unique code taken from an external decentralized public database. So even if the Imprimo platform were to stop, the record of the artist's claim of the work will last indefinitely. Finally, we have the QR code in the bottom right. If a user scans this QR code with their phone, they'll be taken to the public record for this work on Imprimo. When speaking to artists, they would often say that they would create their own certificates of this type. Therefore, we saw value in having the platform support this kind of documentation with more authority than what the artists could provide on their own. Public logged out users can search or browse for artists and artwork registered on Imprimo. Here we're looking at the Browse for Artists view. So you can see here the list of artists, and the user can filter the list by category or location. The user has filtering options by alphabetical order or registration date. Most importantly here, you see the artist's avatar and some information about the artist, but you also get to see some of the artist's work. You can click into these images and be brought to the artwork record. Obviously, it's all about the artwork, so showing that whenever possible is what we think will present the artist in the best way possible. Similar to browsing for artists, this is the view for browsing artwork. The primary artwork images are displayed with typical descriptors. You can filter by the art category and the materials used. When searching on Imprimo, often you'll get mixed results, with the artist profiles and work records together. We show the artist profiles first, followed by the work records. Again, the user can filter and narrow results to help them find what they're looking for. Naturally, users can select an artist's image and be taken to the artist record, or click on the work image and be taken to the work record. Speaking of the work record, this is an example of what one looks like. The primary image is presented here, but if a record has multiple images, the user can scroll through and see the other images associated with the work. Having multiple images is useful for things like sculptures that may not have a primary point of view, or for works like this one that have multiple details and components and can use a close-up on each one of them. Below the typical metadata, artists can link their works to a series, where users can see the different items in that series. You can click into any one of these and see the details of those works. Artists can enter information about the creation story for the work, or the process to create this work. You can add videos, images, and a description to tell the story of how the artist was able to put together this piece. Talking to artists and galleries in our research, it often came up that the story about the work is extremely important to increase engagement with the piece. So we wanted to give artists the ability to share these stories and to give the works the best possible opportunity to find and expand audiences. Speaking of stories, this section of the work record is probably my favorite, as we graphically show the history of the work. For example, where it's been exhibited, what awards it may have won, who's owned it, and who owns it now. This is all ordered chronologically to tell the story of the work, from the creation to what's happening to it now. All of these events can be entered in by the artist and get shown here, while automatically updating your CV. Similar to the creation story, the artist can add additional images, description, or videos to these events to make the story more compelling. If the artist can provide evidence to these claims, a check mark will be given beside the event, letting users know that these events have been verified on the platform. Users can select any of the timeline categories if they wish to just see certain events, for example, exhibitions, awards, or sales information. Finally, at the bottom of the record here, we have the artist's profile, with an indication that the artist's identity has been verified. Users can see the permitted uses as defined by the artist and possibly contact the artist or representative if they have any inquiries. There's also a link here in case the user wishes to dispute the claim to a work. This lets them contact Imprimo to make this objection. So that's some of the highlights for what we're starting with on Imprimo. Thanks so much for listening.